What's up, it's Zach MMA. I'm your host, Zach Weicker, and today we got a very special guest. He's a professional fighter with an 11-5 record, and he's fighting for the UFC. Please welcome Gabe Green. Gabe, how you doing today?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you on. And I like to start my interviews by starting from all the way at the beginning. So, how and when did you get into MMA?
I actually started MMA when one of my friends came and kidnapped me. Basically, dragged me to practice, and I was always interested in MMA. I always wanted to do it, but when he started training, I had just hurt my shoulder, and I was just getting back to using it again, and the idea of getting like picked up and slammed on it wasn't very enticing for me. But basically told me stop being a weenie and go to practice with him. So he just showed up outside of my house one day, told me to jump in his car, and I was like, all right. And then since then it was a wrap. I loved it so much.
Yeah. And what do you recall from the first time you stepped into an MMA gym?
Um, I'm, it was just like I was a kid in a candy store and everything. Cool. I was really happy to be there. So grateful for my friend Ryan for dragging me in there. Yeah, just my coach was going over, I think for jujitsu the first day he was going over triangles, and yeah, man, I just was like, this is cool. I love this stuff.
Yeah, and do you think if your friend Ryan never kidnapped you to go to that training that one time, do you think you ever would have got into MMA by yourself?
I don't know if I would have got into MMA. I think I probably would have gone more like a boxing route. Because I had like walked into some boxing gyms and like signed up at a place and just like hit the bags and stuff. I think boxing would have been more the route, if anything, that I would have went. But my friend wrestled all in high school and stuff like that, so he was really big on MMA, and he did jujitsu when he was younger, and Muay Thai too. So yeah, MMA was way his vibe, and yeah, I don't know. I think if he wouldn't have dragged me into the gym, I don't know if I would have ever done MMA in particular.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did you like watch MMA at all as a kid or any boxing?
We watched a lot of boxing. Occasionally, we would watch MMA, but like my family was way more about straight boxing than it was MMA. Like if we did watch MMA fights, I mean, it's like most people when they're watching MMA, they just want to see the striking. Like I think that grappling fans have gone up a lot though, so like that they're out there now, and people are excited about the grappling exchanges that happen today way more than ever. But yeah, my family, whenever even my dad today is like, why are they grabbing each other? Let's just go back to striking. Let them throw their hands. And I'm like, it's the other stuff's fun too. You just don't know what's going on.
For sure. And who are some of your favorite boxers growing up?
I would watch Mike Tyson and Ali like highlights over and over and over again. Um, it's funny because like their styles are just totally different. But they were my favorite. That, and then the drunken master himself, man, Augustus. I really like the way he moved.
Yeah. And just mentioned Mike Tyson there. So what's your whole thoughts on the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight?
I don't know, man. Uh, I really hope that well, I will not. I hope they get to fight eventually because
Yeah.
like I see it. But I think if Mike Tyson, that was like the whole, people think that Jake Paul pays guys to lose and stuff like that. And I don't know if he's doing that or not. Who really knows? Only they know. But what I think I know is that even if Jake Paul is doing that, and even if he is paying Mike Tyson a bunch of money to make him lose, I feel like you can't do that with Mike Tyson. I feel like after he hit a couple times, all that's going right out the window, and then Mike's coming out. So I think if that was the plan with Mike Tyson, he tried to. I don't know if that plan's going to work exactly how he thought it's going to happen, because yeah, I just see Mike Tyson getting hit like a little too hard, and then Iron Mike comes back out, and he can't really stop that guy anymore.
Yeah. I think the questions are if his chin's still there, if his cardio's still there. So, do you think what type of performance do you think we'd be able to see from Mike Tyson?
I mean, he looks. I mean, granted, it's mitts,
Yeah.
but he looks on the mitts, man. He's moving super well still. Looks like he still has a bunch of power. When he did that fight with Roy Jones, it didn't look like he was. I mean, they got older, lost a step for sure. He's not young Mike no more, but still looked like he had good power, and they weren't swinging super hard, but I think even at that age, he has the chin to take whatever Jake can throw at him.
Yeah, I think it's a very intriguing fight. And from him to you, the last time we were supposed to see it was against James Lomtop, and unfortunately, you had to withdraw from that fight. So, how frustrating was that for you?
Um, I mean, like it was pretty frustrating when it happened. I was and like it wasn't even anything that was crazy. I hit a sweep and I was coming up to get on top of the guy. And as we were coming up, our legs were entangled a little bit, but like nothing like out of a super weird position or anything like that. And my knee just popped when I was getting on top. And it was like a really loud pop. Everyone looked at each other. My coach looks at me. My cousin was in the room watching, and he like threw his phone on the floor because he knew it was like it was just like dang, that was it. And then my legs started swelling up, and I couldn't walk, and I was like dang. But I just laid there on the floor, started praying. I was like, all right, God, if this is your will for me, I guess it's just not my time right now, and I just kind of accepted it. And then he lost, and then he gets choked out. So I was just like, man, that would have been cool, but not for me. So there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, and when you're out for so long and it seems like everything might be going in the wrong direction, what keeps you motivated?
Oh, just that my relationship with God, and I just pray that every day in the morning when I wake up, that every step I take is a step on His path, and I don't like defer from it at all. There's no detours. That all I do is just what He wants me to do. So everything that He's got planned for me will happen in His timing, and I just kind of accept that. And it's pretty freeing, man, because then I know that at any given time, I'm always on the path that He wants me to walk on, and I know that the path that He has for me is the best path for me as like an individual. Maybe not, maybe it might not be the best path for me as gifted Gabe Green the fighter, but it's definitely going to be the best path for me as Gabriel Green the person. So you know I accept that and submit to him completely, so it makes things easier.
Yeah, that's an amazing way to look at it. And when did your relationship with Christianity and God begin?
So I was always kind of Christian. Not a very great Christian as far as like reading the Bible and stuff goes, but I grew up in the church. Grandma would always be like, make sure you pray, make sure you read the Bible. And we had a pretty good relationship with God as a child, but as I grew up, spent less time in church and stuff like that. But it was always kind of like put into me that I got to go give God his glory and stuff like that. So even if I wasn't always reading the Bible or spending time with God in prayer or anything like that, I would always give him like a shout out after I win, like shout out to God for this. And but right before I fought Ian Gary, he which is interesting because he just fought right before I fought Ian Gary, one of my he was actually a chiropractor that would work on me. He was like a minister on the side, and he didn't know I even had like a relationship with God really, and asked if he could pray on me, and I was like, yeah, I'll go pray. That sounds cool. I'll always take some extra prayers. And then he was just asking me about my faith and if I believed in God, and I was telling him like, yeah, I believe that God's out there. And he's like, well, do you pray? I'm like, I can't tell you the last time I prayed, but I know he's out there. And he asked me, do I read the Bible? And I was like, no, I probably haven't read the Bible in a very, very long time. And then he was just like, well, let me pray on you. And I was like, all right. So I was just like on his chiropractor table, and he just started praying on me. And then I swear God came down and like showed himself to me and my whole body started vibrating and he threw a blanket on me. The my friend, the pastor chiropractor, he threw a blanket on me and the blanket like my whole body started shaking and I thought that he had threw like some kind of massage sports massage blanket on me or something like that to loosen up muscles because of how hard my body was vibrating and so my eyes were closed and then I like kind of opened up like one of my eyes to just see what was going on because my whole body's freaking out and it was just a super thin blanket with some like Hebrew or Aramaic on it and I was just like wow this is crazy and then he just told me to accept it and say hallelujah and thank you, Jesus. And I started doing that. And then, I kid you not, for the next hour, I just started speaking in tongues. And I didn't know what I was saying, but it was all coming out of me. And I just felt a super strong warmth all over my body. I started crying and stuff. It was like the most beautiful, at peace, amazing feeling I've ever felt in my whole life. And yeah, I mean, the whole time I was like losing like because I've seen people speak in tongues before. My grandma would speak in tongues, but like to be completely honest, whenever someone spoke in tongues, I was always kind of like, like what are they doing? Are they really doing that right now? Um, this they kind of like seem foolish a little bit, but yeah, no, the words are just coming out of me. I didn't know what I was saying whatsoever. I just felt the feeling behind it, and I couldn't stop it. And when it did finally stop, I felt like I don't know, like I was real tired, like a whole bunch of energy had flown like or went through my body, but at the same time I felt like amazing, drained but like really amazing. And yeah, I mean since then I'm like if there was ever a doubt in my mind that God existed, I was like, nah, that's the real thing. He's real for sure.
Wow, that's truly a life-changing event. So, how would you say your connection with God has shaped you into the individual you are today?
I mean, just like I was saying, I think that the interesting thing about what happened, so like before it happened right like three or the Sunday before I fought Ian Gary, so 6 days before I fought Gary, and I was on a winning streak at that time, and then I lost to Gary, right? And then after losing to Gary, I was thinking like, dang, God, you just come to my life right now, make me experience this whole thing, kind of like I was like super pumped, man, with the Holy Spirit. I'm like, man, I can't lose. I got God with me, da, 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 right? And then I go do my next fight with Brian Battle, and then I lose that one. Like at least the Gary battle, the Gary fight was like competitive. Some people see me winning rounds and stuff like that. Um, even wobbled him, and then the cage held him up right before the round was over. Um, and it was a fun fight and it was back and forth, made him miss a lot and that and this and that, but like the battle fight I go out there and I was like pumped for the battle fight. I was so ready, cracking backstage and I was just like oh my gosh, like with Gary it wasn't time. And then it's funny too, right before, because I listen to gospel music all the time now. And so I'm listening to gospel music backstage before I fight battle. And every song like over and over again, because I just have it like a radio station for gospel, and everything is God's timing, God's timing, God's timing. And in my head, I'm like, all right, cool. So was it my time? Battle, this is my time now. So I go out there and I'm like, I'm about to get this guy. And then I get caught and then I lose in like I mean faster than I've ever lost before, right? I lost a battle in such a way that it's really hard to lose worse than that. Like so, and it wasn't even like I got like just outperformed or anything. I did just get caught, but like the amount of time that it took for that to happen was very minimal, right? And so I'm just like sitting there like Jesus. All right, so I guess the time isn't now either. Um, and then so funny with the battle fight too, because I was I don't know if you've ever been knocked out before, but I about to like I fainted of my left hand and was gonna hit him with like when I fainted my left hand, I saw his chin on like a gold and silver platter, like highlight neon sign, just going like his chin was so open as I was gonna throw the right hook. And I remember thinking like, oh man, I got him. And like I went, and as I did that, I didn't bring my left hand back to my face, and his just landed first, and then boof. And then I like go to get up, and then the ref stops me, and I was just like, oh my god, he landed first. Dang, like there's really being. Some people are scared of being knocked out and stuff like that. I mean, granted, it was more like a. Some guys are like stiff on the floor for like a couple minutes, and that's for sure a scary thing. But like when you kind of just get dropped and then the lights turn off, turn back on, it's kind of like you just get restarted. And I was just like, dang, I thought I had him, it was this close. Uh, so then, yeah, I get done with that fight and I'm thinking like, God, I was on a winning streak and it's not like I didn't believe in you before, but now you're the center of my life. And I was thinking that everything's going to be just like better. But fighting wise, it's not going that great since you kind of jumped in my life. And but I mean, you could totally think of it as a different way. As I was like sitting there praying to him, uh, I feel like maybe God knew that I was gonna lose my next two fights, and that I think losing two fights in a row is it puts a lot of pressure on you sometimes, and it sometimes can be really hard for you to come back from. And but at least without God. But now that I have God in my life, and I told you, like how I just keep my eyes on Him, and I know that His plan is the best for me. I realize that no matter what I'm going through in life, being fighting related or not, God's always with me, and He's got what's best for me planned. And as long as I stay, true to His path, what like I said, I try to do, regardless of where I'm at in life, I'm always going to be where I'm supposed to be. So I think that if I didn't get as close to God as I did right now in the situation that I am on like a two fight losing streak, I'd be having a lot tougher time with what's going to happen next. But now that I got God, I'm just like, I mean, I'm ready for whatever happens. My next fight, I'm not really stressed out about it. I'm gonna go in there and just be ready to fight.
Yeah, that's amazing. It really is. And I saw recently you just did a marriage ceremony. So how was that?
That's really cool. I remember it was middle of COVID on a whim. I got like ordained because one of my friends said he was gonna get married. He was thinking about getting married, and I was like, "Yeah, I got you, man." And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Give me a second." I like went on my phone for like minutes and then got ordained. I came back. I was like, "All right, I'm ready." He's like, "Ready for what?" I was like, "Ready to marry you, man." I got ordained. So I've been having that in my back pocket for a second, and I married one of my other friends. Well, I did the officiating. Married one of my other friends wedding for Ryan, the guy who brought me into the gym to start training. I officiated his wedding last year, and then one of my boxing coaches was like, "Hey, you're like a ordained minister, right?" I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, I'm gonna get married tomorrow. Would you like to do the ceremony? I'm like, yeah, man. Let me see if I can pull out a suit. So I just, I actually pulled out the same suit that I wore when I got married myself. And it was all clean and stuff and all nice. I just threw that bad boy on and then did the little ceremony. It's really cool. Really, I like to talk about Adam and Eve and how Eve was made from Adam's rib, and I just throw in some gospel in there while I'm doing the officiating, so it still stays close to what God wanted. And yeah, man, it was really nice. They really liked it. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's really amazing, man. And I know you also like to preach and you like to give insight to your followers on Christianity on your Instagram. So, how important is it for you to spread the word to others?
I think, man, like if you read the Bible, uh, the people of Israel, like time after time, even with God like right in front of them, uh, keep on messing stuff up. Like they'll believe in God for a second and then they fall hard and they stop believing in God and start following other idols and worshiping other gods. And they they very quickly forget everything that God's done for them, even though like God's doing it right in front of them. And I think that me being I'm like very blessed and lucky to have experienced what I experienced with God because there's I mean, I'm not perfect, you know, like I mess up sometimes and I fall short, but there's never going to be a time where I like just stop believing in God and go the other way because of how strong that experience I had with God was. So yeah, I just think it's really important for me to keep on reminding people that God is out there because there's a lot of people out there who haven't experienced something like I did. So it's a lot easier for them to just kind of, you know, let God be in the back of their head and just like forget about him almost. So yeah, I think that was the part of the reason was for me to experience what I experienced was just to go out there and remind people that, you know, he's real, he's out there, he's got your back. Don't forget about him. Make sure you have a relationship with him. Yeah.
That's great, man. It really is. And something I also saw you do on your Instagram is you do food reviews. So, what's the greatest foods you ever had?
You know what? Can't even I I picked up this random kind of like grain allergy in the last couple years. So I like stay away from grains now. It feels so much better when I don't eat them. But my favorite food place that I've ever eaten was like in LA or like the SoCal area was this deep dish pizza spot called Masa in Echo Park. So it's very sad that I can't eat that and enjoy it anymore. It's so good.
I feel you, man. Feel ya. And after you make weight, what's your go-to after make weight for like meal?
It's usually like steak and potatoes. After like that night when we're trying to carb up and stuff again,
Yeah.
I do a pretty good like a leaner steak, like a fillet, and then a bunch of sweet potatoes. I've been really on purple sweet potatoes lately. Like I just eat them all day. I don't know if you ever tried purple sweet potatoes, but they're even better than regular sweet potatoes. Why they're purple? I know they're packed with even more nutrients though. And yeah, I'm like my wife's like, "What do you want to eat this week?" I'm like, "Let's get more purple sweet potatoes." She's like,
That's perfect, man. And I know you mentioned him earlier in the interview, but Ian and Gary fought yesterday. So, what'd you think about his performance?
um, honest, I thought that Gary was gonna actually lose that one. But he went out there and he won. I thought that it was gonna be like they not a lot of strikes were thrown. They were really trying to fill it out, and I was like, all right, yeah, that's what I kind of expected. And I thought that if anything happened, MVP was going to get the better of the striking exchanges. And that kind of did happen with the striking exchanges. However, what I didn't expect was for Gary to actually try to make grappling exchanges happen. And he did that amazingly and was able to control MVP completely, you know, like in all of the grappling exchanges. So yeah, no, that was Gary did exactly what he needed to do to win, and you know, gotta respect him for his. I think especially like I look up to him for it because sometimes I get so caught up on not necessarily winning or losing, but just trying to make a great performance happen. And think at heart I'm an entertainer. I want to go out there and just, you know, let the fireworks fly and make everyone go like, wow, that was a great fight. Gary, on the other hand, not that he's not exciting, but he's more focused on winning. And it's kind of what you have to be doing in the sport. You know, you got to be focused on winning because if you keep on losing, they're just gonna, you know, hit you with the see you later papers, and then it's a wrap from there. So he does what he needs to do to win, and then that's it's a great quality to have in a fighter.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It was nice to see him show new elements of his game that we have not seen before. And to go to the main event, Alex Pereira had a phenomenal performance, and his star keeps rising up. So, what do you think about Alex Pereira and just the stardom he has with him now?
Yeah, man, that guy. got a I don't know what it's like. He almost his body's made out of different material, but everyone else's body's made out of because it's like it's not that he's slow or whatever, but like it just looks like everything that he hits you with is more of a little like it's just ugh. Like if we threw a punch at the same speed and we weighed the same, his punch would just hurt more just because it's him. You know, he just has that extra. I don't know if it's his bones are denser or his muscles are denser or what, but he just hits like a truck, you know, and yeah, then the whole setup and the he was already hurt at the end of the first round, and then in the second round, after throwing nothing but calf kicks, the whole I mean, I guess he threw a couple teeps too, but for the most part, only going low, 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 low. Jerry did not expect him to go to the head off the switch and then reach low because that's what he thought he was gonna do, and just off the top of his head. So it's not like he's all. It's not like he is only someone who hits hard. You know, he set that up beautifully. So just an amazing fighter, man. I guess. And then he said he wants to go up to heavyweight. So like we'll see what. I think that him and John Jones will hopefully happen eventually, and that'd be fun to see. Because I mean, John Jones isn't like some giant heavyweight, you know. So granted, his striking or his grappling is really good. But if you remember, like Jones, although he beat like Machida and stuff, he was still getting cracked by Machida. I don't know if you can get cracked by Alex as many times as he got hit by Machida, you know? So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, two scary dudes right there. And to get your predictions on UFC 304, which is just around a month away, what's your predictions for the main event and the co-main event?
What's which one's the who's the main event for three?
That's Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad and Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades.
Ooh, I really like Tom. I think I'm gonna go Tom over Curtis Blades. Um, I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. And then Leon versus Bilal. I'm gonna go Leon because I think Leon, as long as his mindset hasn't changed since his last fight, he's just constantly improving all the time. Um, I don't think Bilal's the same. Like Bilal has really good ground control, and like that's his jam, and like respect to him for that. But like Leon's got better striking, and then Leon's not a slouch when it comes to the grappling exchanges. But just the way that Leon improved from Usman 1 and Usman 2 with him, I think that even though he's at the top, like he's not slowing down whatsoever. He's going to continue to. We're going to see a better Leon than we did in his last fight against Usman, which he looked really, 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 really good. And I don't know what Bilal's going to do to beat that.
Yeah, for sure, man. And to you, when do you think we'll see you back in the octagon?
Ah, man, I'm trying to. I would love to sneak one in before the year's over, but it's all just dependent on my knee. Like it's feeling a lot better. I started doing like I was in the pool with all the old ladies doing aqua aerobics like the week after, trying to get it moving and just put some motion in the knee. But I mean it's getting there. It's not 100% like at all yet, but hopefully in the next like month or two, I'm gonna be able to be like completely back on the mats 100%. And if I can do that, man, I'm just trying to get like a 8 week kind of camp going on so I can like really knock the rust off and get my timing back and then jump in. So as long as I'm back on the mats by what's by October, I want to fight by the end of December. Hopefully I'm back before that.
Yeah, we would love to see that. And when you watch these other fights going on, does it make you more hungry, more eager to go out there and compete?
I know 100%. And I think I'm I look at my own like I don't think I suck, but I think I'm even better than I give myself credit for. And granted, like I got knocked out in 14 seconds in my last fight, but uh Yeah, no, I just look at, like what Gary did to MVP. And don't get me wrong, like Gary's getting better and stuff since the time I fought. But I just see guys that I've fought go out there and do some pretty amazing things. And all I'm thinking is like, I don't even think that I think if I rematched Gary, I think I could totally beat him. I think if I rematch Battle, I think I could totally beat him. I think if I rematch D Rod, I could totally beat him. I think that on the days that we fought, uh, they showed up and they out. Like I don't think that they're like necessarily extremely better than me. I think they just they their performance was better that night. Um, but it's not a giant representation of skill versus skill. And I matured a lot more as a fighter since then. And I think that I could totally avenge every single one of those losses. And I've like told my manager too. I'm like, man, like how Ige took the fight on like 3 hours notice. Like, man, if any one of those guys that I fought already, if they need an opponent, you let me know. I was like 15 minutes before. If I'm in the stadium, I'll just like walk out to the cage and fight them if they need it. You um, yeah, you know. So yeah, when I see them fighting, I'm like, I can't wait to go out there and just do like show a full representation of me and my skill because I don't think I've necessarily performed to the best of my abilities, and that's all my fault when I'm out there. Uh, yeah, so I'm really looking forward to do that, and then especially at 55, at 70, guys are so much bigger than me, like lengthwise and stuff like that. So I got to fight a little more recklessly. I got to cover a bunch of distance to try to get in there. I think at 55, where everyone's like actually my size, you'll be able to see even more of my skills because I don't have to worry about getting past like a 6, 7 inch reach.
Yeah, I feel you there. And my final question for you is if you could send a message to any of your fans out there that are eager and excited to watch you fight, what would you tell them?
Oh man, just keep your eyes on me, stay posted, man, because soon as I'm ready to go back, I think that especially at 55, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna make a statement, and then I think we're gonna be riding. Like I gotta come up with my own thing because Holloway got the Blessed Express. Gotta gift it, and because I think I've been feeling that God's got something planned for me for a long time, and I might be wrong. It might not have anything to do with MMA ever, but if it does, I think when it's time to take off, it's we about to be flying.
Man, I'm excited to see you in there. Is there anything you want to plug, anything you want to shout out before you head out of here?
I mean, now, man, y'all go open up your Bible, man. Get a relationship with God because He's real. That's all I got to say.
Gabe, it was more than a pleasure having you on. Folks, I wish you all the folks, that's all for today. I wish you the best. Have a good one. Peace.